A confused teenage boy wakes in the Seattle woods, covered in slime, and with no memory of identity or basic behavior. When a rattlesnake strikes, he catches it mid-air with inhuman reflexes. Wandering, he finds a red tent and startles two teens. Later, he's discovered naked in the city, arrested, and placed in juvenile detention, where he begins learning to eat, feel discomfort, and understand basic needs. Meanwhile, psychologist Nicole Trager phones her daughter Lori, who hides from her mom after being with her boyfriend. Before Nicole enters, she gets a call about a mysterious boy who needs her help. Back at the center, the boy is attacked by others and experiences pain for the first time. Nicole arrives at the detention center and is told the boy has no belly button. Touched by his situation, she names him Kyle and brings him home. While Nicole is at work, Lori is distracted, and Kyle wanders off after hearing music. He enters a neighbor's house, where a girl is playing piano. The melody moves him to tears. Startled when she notices him, he flees back home. Kyle meets Josh, who's sleeping in the tub, then Steven, Nicole's husband, in his workshop. That evening, Carol Bloom angrily confronts Nicole about Kyle entering her house. While Carol fumes, her daughter Amanda is intrigued, and Kyle is equally taken by her. Carol, sensing this, pulls Amanda away and warns Nicole to keep Kyle at a distance. At dinner, Kyle shouts "Yo, juice me," a phrase from detention, then mimics something Lori said about her love life, embarrassing her. Though Kyle begins with no understanding of human behavior, he adapts rapidly. Nicole tests him with an IQ exam. He completes it in 5 minutes, and scores perfectly. An MRI shows an abnormally logical brain, but doctors dismiss it as a glitch. One night, Kyle sees Lori sneaking out to Declan McDonough's party and follows her. He tries alcohol and gets sick. When police arrive and Lori risks arrest, Kyle calmly intervenes, using swift, non-violent moves to de-escalate and carry her home. The next day, after seeing Nicole hug Steven, Kyle mimics it and confesses he often feels scared. Nicole is moved and convinces Steven to let him stay. Later, when Steven struggles to recover lost laptop files, Kyle restores them instantly. He bonds with Josh over basketball, and discreetly returns Josh's hidden adult magazine. At dinner, Nicole suggests Kyle stay permanently. No one speaks, but all silently agree. Kyle doesn't understand sleep. One night, he roams the kitchen, eating random food, unpeeled bananas, raw eggs, then discovers the TV remote and imitates a martial arts film in Chinese, waking the family. While they clean up, Kyle casually reveals he hasn't slept since arriving. A detective visits about missing persons reports, but Kyle remembers nothing before the forest. Nicole suspects trauma. A doctor finds him in perfect health, no signs of aging, flawless teeth, and prescribes a sleeping pill. In the waiting room, Kyle completes a massive puzzle, impressing onlookers. Nicole then gives him art supplies. He instantly draws the forest where he woke. That night they try tea, a bath, and the pill. Nothing works. Near midnight, Kyle sneaks outside, captivated by the stars. He spots a red pickup creeping by. A barking dog scares it off, and Kyle calms the dog with his voice. Amanda, watching, is stunned. They briefly talk before she heads to bed. Back inside, Kyle tells the family he was watching stars. Josh jokes he's an alien searching for his home, and Kyle takes it seriously. The next morning the Tragers find him on the lawn, staring at the sky, waiting to be taken back. To exhaust him, Steven takes Kyle running, but Kyle isn't fazed. Steven, that night, though sore, Kyle says his mind won't stop. Fearing he'll wander again, Nicole and Steven take turns sleeping in the boys' room to watch over him. One morning Steven oversleeps and misses a key meeting. He and Nicole argue, acknowledging that Kyle's presence has disrupted their routine. Unbeknownst to them, Kyle hears everything and quietly leaves. The police find no leads. Nicole, recalling his forest sketches, realizes that might be where he's gone. The Tragers search the woods and find Kyle at the tree stump from his drawings, saying he was waiting for his family. Back home Steven tells him not to force answers, just to find what brings peace. Later they find Kyle asleep in the bathtub for the first time, soothed by white noise from a radio. In the forest, behind the same massive stump, a pale skeleton is revealed, lying hidden in the brush nearby. In the morning the Tragers begin their day. Steven takes Kyle to his office, while the others head out. Nicole gets a call from Detective Breen. Police have found a human skeleton near where Kyle was discovered. Among the remains is a keycard with a strange emblem. Breen shows it to her. At the office Kyle wanders into the server room, tampers with the electronics, but fixes everything before Steven's boss notices. At home Kyle continues sleeping in the bathtub. While he's drawing there, Nicole shows him the photo of the emblem. Kyle doesn't recognize it. Nicole tells Steven, police clear Kyle as a suspect. There was evidence of a struggle, but Kyle had no injuries. Meanwhile, the man in the red pickup spying on the Tragers has fresh scratches. Josh gets Kyle to take his summer school math test. Later, Kyle wakes up alone, climbs to the roof, and jumps down. Amanda sees him and crashes her new car in shock. Lori lies about supervising Kyle. Kyle confused by the concept of lying. Later hears Amanda worry about the car. Lori urges her to lie, but Kyle encourages honesty. At dinner the family sticks to the lie. Josh fakes his test score and Lori pretends she watched Kyle. Frustrated, Kyle tells the truth. He took the test and was alone. Josh and Lori get in trouble and blame him, leaving Kyle feeling awful. Inspired by Kyle, Steven decides to be honest too. He calls his boss and says the employees deserve to know about the layoffs. Later, when Amanda's mom finds out about the car, Kyle takes the blame. Amanda is grateful, but her mom bans Kyle from their home and from seeing Amanda. Back home, Lori and Josh reconsider their behavior. They apologize and make a pact with Kyle, not to involve him in lies, but also not to be exposed by him again. The next morning Nicole and Steven unveil a gift. They've transformed Steven's workshop into a bedroom just for Kyle, complete with a bathtub at its center as a nod to where he feels most at peace. That day Steven brings Kyle along to his office. At home Nicole starts hanging Kyle's artwork in his new room, and notices a strange pattern. In the corners of each drawing are dark marks. When pieced together they form the same mysterious symbol from the security keycard, found with the skeleton. Kyle dreams of being underwater with Amanda, nearly kissing before she disappears. He wakes, unsure if it was memory, dream or premonition. The next morning Detective Breen visits again, curious about the fragmented symbol Kyle repeatedly draws. Kyle says it's just how he saw it in his mind. Meanwhile, the man in the red truck Thomas Foss quits his job after 10 years. His company had issued him the same kind of security card found near the skeleton, matching Kyle's drawing. At the pool Amanda lifeguards while Lori meets Hillary. Josh begs Lori to get a girl's number for him. Steven and Nicole work on enrolling Kyle in school. While Josh and Lori are distracted, Kyle jumps off the diving board and sinks. Amanda saves him, just like in his dream. As she pulls him out, he has an involuntary reaction that causes the crowd to laugh. Back home Steven must awkwardly explain what happened to a humiliated Kyle. Declan visits to invite Lori to a back-to-school party. Around the same time Josh gives Kyle an adult magazine to help him handle his feelings. Amanda walks in, sees Kyle's many sketches of her, then catches him holding the magazine. Embarrassed she leaves silently. To fix things and free up his own time, Josh signs Kyle up for swimming lessons with Amanda. Lori returns the favor by giving Josh the number he wanted. He calls Ashley Redmond but hangs up in panic. Amanda teaches Kyle to swim and he learns quickly. During a break, she reassures him she liked the drawings. Kyle says they felt incomplete. Intrigued, Amanda invites him over to show him something. At home, Nicole tells Steven that Breen found no record of the company tied to the keycard symbol. She's uneasy about sending Kyle to public school. He clearly doesn't fit in. Meanwhile, Tom Foss returns home to find Dennis Bunker waiting. Bunker reveals Foss's deactivated badge, matched the missing Professor Carnes's, not his own, and that Foss has stolen files on Kyle. Amanda invites Kyle to her house, and introduces him to a more emotional form of art. She shares some of her late father's paintings, and quietly opens up. He passed away the previous year. Kyle begins to understand what was missing from his drawings of her. Later in his room he tries again. This time, instead of replicating her face with perfect accuracy, he draws from feeling and creates something entirely different. Josh finally musters the courage to call Ashley and sets up a date at Jeff Preston's party. Lori, preparing for the same event, discreetly slips a condom into her purse. Josh convinces Kyle to tag along by promising Amanda will be there. Kyle agrees, he wants to give her the new drawing. Days later, Dennis returns to Foss's for a second visit, meant to collect. Foss silences the threat permanently, killing Bunker without hesitation. At the party, Josh is lured into a hot tub by Ashley for impulsive skinny dipping. It doesn't last. They're caught by the hosting parents. Lori pulls Declan aside and sleeps with him. Meanwhile, Hillary, clearly drunk and determined, throws herself at Kyle. Before things spiral, Lori returns. She rips Hillary away from Kyle. Humiliated, Hillary retaliates by revealing Declan only asked Lori out because she told him to, mocking Lori for being naive. Later, Declan stands up for Lori when Preston badmouths her. As the night drags on, Amanda finally arrives. Kyle, heart racing, prepares to give her the drawing until Charlie Tanner appears and greets Amanda with a kiss. Lori and Josh, both reeling from their own emotional wreckage, find Kyle outside. Kyle, shattered, quietly drops the picture in the pool. He says, "Let's go home." Rain begins to fall. The first day at Beechwood High arrives. Lori and Josh dread it. Kyle is eager but quickly overwhelmed. He notices students self-segregate by clothes, speech, age, and race. The bell system baffles him. Nicole negotiates with Principal Hooper for individualized tutoring and Kyle is given placement tests. She promises to return. Kyle starts with history but doesn't recognize any names or date. When the bell rings, he abandons the test and follows the crowd. In math class, Lori clashes with Hillary over matching tops. Hillary passes a rude note. Mr. Miller catches it, gives Lori detention and presents a semester challenge. Solve a graduate-level problem for an automatic. Josh lands in remedial English. When Miss Schultz asks Toby Newworth to read aloud, he struggles and is mocked. Josh reads smoothly but Toby glares. New enemy made. Kyle wanders into Mr. Miller's room, studies the unsolved equation and solves it. When Mr. Miller returns, he's stunned. At lunch, Kyle heads toward Amanda but backs off when Charlie Tanner takes the seat beside her. Kyle sits with L.K. Diamond, a kind but awkward student mocked as Geekman. Dykeman shares his love of superheroes. Nicole's plans for alone time with Steven are cut short by breaking glass. Tom Foss has broken in and slipped upstairs. When Nicole finds Kyle's room disturbed, Foss suddenly shows up at the door pretending to be a neighborhood guard. Steven rushes home, suspicious Foss appeared right after the break-in. He takes down Foss's info for later verification. Dykeman takes Kyle to the library and shows him encyclopedias. Kyle grabs several volumes and begins reading them rapidly. Later, Amanda brings Charlie to the library and introduces him to Kyle. Charlie offers to show Kyle around but Kyle is stiff. Picking up on it, Charlie jokes that Kyle must dislike him. Meanwhile, Nicole and Steven contact Foss's security company. They're told he's a model employee with a military background, nothing to worry about. At school, Josh is attacked by Toby on the stairs. Kyle intervenes. Toby tries to push him but Kyle doesn't budge. When Toby swings, Kyle catches his fist mid-air. Another punch misses, slamming Toby's hand into the wall. Toby lunges again. Kyle sidesteps and grabs his jacket, leaving him hanging over the edge. The crowd, especially Dykeman, is stunned by Kyle's reflexes. In detention, Lori strikes a deal with Mr. Miller. If she proves Kyle solved the math problem, he'll drop her punishment. He agrees. Meanwhile, Nicole and Steven meet Principal Hooper, who says Kyle didn't answer any test question. Kyle explains he didn't know then but does now. Hooper deems him unfit, until Mr. Miller arrives and advocates for him. Hooper allows a retake with just 30 minutes left. Kyle finishes all exams with 5 minutes to spare. He's approved for private tutoring but tells Nicole he wants regular classes to better understand people. Outside, Kyle finds Dykeman sitting alone and encourages him, saying being different is good. Moved, Dykeman gives him a superhero drawing of Kyle. That night, Kyle hangs it proudly in his room. As he lies in his bathtub, it's revealed Foss is watching every move, every moment, from his apartment across town. On a stormy night, Kyle dreams of a man in a rain-soaked parka staring through a car window. He jolts awake to find Declan at his real window, raincoat dripping, asking to stay the night. Kyle quietly lets him in. Declan sleeps on the floor. Next morning, Lori finds him and asks what happened. Declan says he had a fight with his dad and claims the bruise on his forehead came from a fall. Lori seems doubtful. She warns him about her parents. He promises to sneak out. Lori distracts Nicole while Kyle tries to sneak Declan out, but Steven spots them. Declan quickly lies, saying he came to wish Lori a happy birthday. Steven believes him and invites him to breakfast. During the meal, Kyle feels uneasy about lacking memories. Nicole encourages him to take his dreams seriously. He shows her a sketch of the man from the dream and suggests it might be a memory from the stormy night he was found. He asks about using hypnosis, but Nicole urges patience. The power suddenly goes out. Outside, Steven sees footprints by Kyle's window and finds Tom Foss lurking. Foss claims he's checking fuse boxes. Steven, disturbed, mentions Kyle's drawing and the blood smear on the glass, wondering if the dream is real. He asks Foss if the intruder could be back. Foss asks to see the drawing and they head inside. Declan goes into Lori's room and comforts her about not having a friend on her birthday. She tries to talk about his forehead wound but he shuts her down. Kyle is pondering his dream when Amanda visits. She joins him in the tub for a quiet moment of comfort. Tom says he didn't recognize the image and takes it, saying he'll show it to police. After he leaves, Steven speculates whether Kyle isn't missing and if someone is surveilling him. From his patrol car, Foss makes a coded call reporting that Kyle is starting to remember. Back in his apartment, Foss watches video footage of Declan climbing through Kyle's window and recognizes him from a past car crash. He starts putting pieces together. He calls again. He's found the solution to keep the family from asking more questions. The reply: if Kyle's memories get clearer, the family becomes a problem. The group plays with a Ouija board. Kyle asks when his birthday is. The board slowly spells out 7. Josh writes it down in his running Kyle file. They step outside when they notice the rain has stopped, which confuses Kyle. The group bickers about Kyle being an alien when he senses something in the weather and warns them to get back inside. A flash of lightning strikes a flower pot where they had been standing. They go inside, and Declan exclaims that it was weird. The power comes back on. Lori tells Nicole about Kyle finding the numbers in the Ouija board, and she thinks it might be another memory. Kyle tries to find the meaning of the numbers on the computer, while Josh keeps joking that he's an alien. The moment unravels when Kyle breaks down, frustrated that the only clues to his identity feel alien, disconnected from anything real. Nicole talks him down, trying to reassure him. Tom comes in and says there was a hit and run and one driver is missing. Kyle realizes they're talking about Declan when Nicole mentions the footprints outside his window. Lori overhears and pushes Declan into admitting the truth behind his head injury. He confesses about the car accident. Amanda comforts him about his memories and tells him about her father. Meanwhile, the parents discuss Kyle, and Declan leaves, resolving to admit the accident to his own dad. As evening falls, Kyle joins Lori's birthday celebration. It's a rare light moment. Amanda gives him a small sweet kiss, just as he had secretly hoped. Next morning, while reading the newspaper, Kyle freezes. There's a photo of a missing University of Washington professor, William Kern. It's the same face he saw in his dream. At the police station, Nicole calls Detective Breen. As he handles the keycard from the murder scene, he flips it over and spots a number on the back, 781227. Kyle tries to puzzle out why he saw the man in his dreams. Nicole tells him to go outside and relax, so he goes to play basketball with Josh. Kyle sinks every shot. Charlie tells him he has to try out for the school team. Amanda, apparently with Charlie, leaves hand in hand. Kyle, distracted, misses his next shot. With Josh's help, Kyle dresses appropriately for tryouts. Lori brings him to the gym and argues with Hillary. Charlie tries to convince the coach to let Kyle join, but the coach refuses mid-semester additions. Declan also seems against it. Suddenly, everyone sees Kyle sink every shot he takes. The family congratulates him on making the team. Kyle says he'll play in the next game. Nicole shows Steven what she's uncovered about the man in Kyle's dreams. Her research points to Professor William Kern, a brain research specialist. One of Kern's old books focuses on unlocking untapped regions of the brain. The more she reads, the more convinced she is that Kern links to Kyle's origins and the skeleton in the woods. Foss, watching Nicole and Steven on surveillance, gets a call. The police are making connections. Kyle starts training. Josh runs betting pools on the team's success. At home, Josh gives Kyle tapes and books on basketball. Declan and Charlie drop off the playbook. Declan apologizes for being harsh at practice. Later, Declan and Lori argue with Hillary until Declan leaves with Charlie. Lori slams the door in Hillary's face. Tom loads a syringe and pistol while reviewing footage of Kyle dribbling. Kyle masters moves from basketball legends, dunks with flair. Declan, trying to match him, hurts his knee. Charlie says rest, but Declan insists the coach won't play him if he sits out. Practice ends. Lori asks Declan to hang out, then notices Hillary flirting with him. Tom picks up a shady man from an alley, flashes cash, and the man joins him. Nicole's suspicions spike when a breaking news report shows Steven identifying the remains as Professor Kern. They decide to tell Kyle tomorrow not to ruin his excitement for the big game. They promise Kyle they'll both be there. Josh reminds Kyle he has money riding on the outcome. At the game, the coach delivers a pep talk. The team scores repeatedly. In the final minutes, tension mounts. Kyle feels overwhelmed by pressure. Declan can barely stand. The coach orders Declan to play through injury and yells for Kyle to replace him. Kyle protests. In solidarity, the entire team refuses to play and forfeits. Nicole visits the detective, angry they weren't told about the remains. He says Kyle has no connection. No one has identified him. She speculates Kyle might know the killer. He shows her a photo of a man who overdosed. The murder weapon was with him. Same man who got in Tom Foss's car. Case closed, the detective says. Steven answers a call meant for Josh and learns about the betting pool. Josh snaps that his dad only gets excited about Kyle's skills, not Josh's usual antics. They talk it out. Lori makes peace with Hillary. Declan thanks Kyle. Kyle says he's taking a break from the team. That night, Kyle dreams of Professor Kern, sees Tom Foss shoot and kill him. Kyle's need for truth grows urgent. The Tragers notice. Nicole invites a hypnotist. Under hypnosis, Kyle slips into a vivid trance. Professor Kern faces the camera. A struggle erupts. Foss shoots Kern. Kyle begins babbling incoherently. Nicole stops the session, insists he be brought out. Declan has a chance to tour the University of Washington. Kyle asks to come. Stephen assures Nicole Foss won't be around anymore. Lori offers Kyle to join her and Declan. Nicole agrees, thinking it's just a visit. At UW, nothing looks familiar to Kyle. Foss later asks Nicole why they switched his detail. She says he wasn't a good fit. Kern's assistant doesn't recognize Kyle but runs every test. Kyle aces them all. She says the professor would have shared results. Kyle sees a 20-year-old photo. The face is identical to his. Lori asks Stephen for permission to stay overnight on campus. Back home, Nicole replays the hypnosis audio. Josh half-jokingly suggests slowing it down. Nicole does and hears a clear string of letters and numbers. Kyle talks with the professor's assistant about figuring out his identity, while Lori goes exploring with a guy she met on campus. The next day, the assistant comes to the dorm they're staying in and tells Kyle that the student in the picture is named Adam Bullen. They ask an old woman in the office about Bullen, but she explains he disappeared 20 years ago without a trace. For Kyle, this feels like the first real clue. Who was Adam Bullen? And why does Kyle look exactly like him? At home, Stephen tells Nicole that he figured out the numbers they found were coordinates. But when he checks them on View at Earth, the location is blacked out, restricted. Whatever's there, someone doesn't want it seen. Lori confronts Declan about his cool demeanor and he questions whether she slept with the guy she was with. She tells him she fell asleep in the room after they talked and says he has no right to question her since they're just friends. While digging through more of Professor Kern's materials, Kyle uncovers a research paper written by Adam Bullen, the same man whose photo he found at the university. The paper includes two chillingly familiar things: the mysterious symbol from the keycard found near Kern's body, and the exact coordinates Nicole decoded from Kyle's hypnosis session. Lori gets a call from Stephen, who has figured out where they are, and she tells them what he's found. He discourages them from going to the coordinate location and she agrees to come back. She tells Kyle and Declan what she's been ordered, then goes to the bathroom. Foss overhears the phone call and runs out of the room. Kyle, driven by the growing urgency to understand who or what he really is, sets out for the location with Declan. Once they arrive, Kyle insists on continuing alone. Lori calls Declan, angry that they left, and he hangs up, telling her they're at the place. Kyle hikes through the wooded area until he reaches a heavily secured fence topped with barbed wire. As he starts to climb, a masked figure yanks him down. The two briefly struggle, but Kyle quickly gains the upper hand. He rips off the mask and finds himself staring into the eyes of Tom Foss. Foss, calm despite the confrontation, delivers a warning. The man Kyle saw in his dream, Kern, isn't who he thinks. Foss tells Kyle to stop digging and stop asking questions, or the people he cares about, including the Tragers, will suffer. He orders Kyle to go and never come back. Declan asks what he saw, but Kyle says he found nothing. They return home. Kyle tells everyone there were only trees. He takes responsibility for going so the others won't get in trouble and shuts down further questions, saying it doesn't matter to his life now. Later, Kyle confides in Declan about what happened in the woods and makes him promise silence. Lori comes out and shares a kiss with Declan. As the episode closes, a hidden camera watches the exact area where Kyle and Foss met. Footage is transmitted to a high-tech facility filled with technicians and surveillance gear. One tech rewinds the recording, showing Kyle trying to climb the fence. A superior, watching intently, mutters 781227, then, stunned, says aloud, "He's alive." Inside the facility, two people discuss Kyle by number. The woman says he was scheduled to be terminated 2 months ago. She asks how he survived and left. He replies he's looking into it. She orders Kyle found, saying the company can't afford someone like him in the outside world. Later, Kyle reads the lips of Lori and Hillary outside and tells Josh what they're saying when Josh wonders. People in the facility speculate his abilities will raise questions if he isn't found, and the woman orders him removed. After Foss's warning, Kyle reluctantly decides to back off. Digging too deep feels too risky. Nicole, still believing truth is essential to his identity, gently encourages him not to give up. Declan visits Lori and tells Kyle he can't trust what Foss said. Kyle finds Josh trying to eavesdrop on their parents and starts to listen, but decides not to and leaves. At the facility, the man discovers Foss's identity. The woman orders him to follow Foss for now. Josh urges Kyle to test long-distance hearing. Sitting outside, Kyle tunes out noises and discovers he has enhanced hearing. He tells Josh he can't hear anything, so Josh won't guess how he's spying on Foss. Nicole tells Stephen that Kyle has stopped wanting to discover who he is and has regressed. Stephen tries to comfort her. Kyle talks to Declan about his new hearing ability and tailing Foss. Declan cancels plans with Lori to help. They visit Foss's workplace and get his address from a receptionist. Cyrus Reynolds, the agency man, phones Foss. Foss slips into the car with a gun to Cyrus's head. Cyrus warns that if Foss kills him, they'll just send someone else. Foss snarls he isn't a subject and tells Cyrus to stay away. Declan and Kyle go to Foss's residence. Kyle listens through the door and hears Nicole and Lori talking. Foss is spying on them with cameras. They hide when Foss comes out. At home, Josh is overwhelmed by slipping grades. Stephen reassures him. Kyle and Declan break into Foss's apartment once he leaves. They find camera feeds and see Lori asking Hillary who she's sleeping with. Suspecting Declan, Hillary denies it. Door opens, Foss is back. They flee. Foss notices screens on and searches. He sees them running outside. Cyrus spots Kyle leaving and calls his superior. She orders him to find a moment and do it. Cyrus follows. Josh celebrates passing his exams. Nicole mentions Kyle and Declan are going to the carnival. At the carnival, Declan meets Lori. Cyrus prepares to strike. Charlie and Amanda greet Kyle. Amanda rides a coaster with him. Declan assures Lori it was personal business and asks her to trust him. From afar, Kyle overhears Declan telling Charlie to confess Hillary to Amanda. Kyle also hears Foss arguing with Cyrus. Cyrus says he should have terminated Kyle long ago, that Kyle causes problems. Foss warns him off. Cyrus punches. Cyrus aims at Kyle just as the strain of long-distance hearing overwhelms him. Kyle collapses in a seizure. Doctors later say Kyle will be fine, brain activity is normal. Kyle lies, saying nothing special led to the seizure. Cyrus phones his superior, implying he bribed the doctor. She says they'll get Kyle next time. Declan tells Kyle he should tell the family about Foss and the other man. Nicole tells Stephen the detective called with news and heads to Kyle's room. Nicole tells Kyle she feels she failed. He says she hasn't. He is about to tell her everything when a nurse interrupts. Lori stumbles onto a painful discovery. She catches Charlie cheating on Amanda with Hillary. Torn between loyalty and betrayal, she doesn't know what to do. Then everything flips. A couple claiming to be Kyle's biological parents arrive at the hospital and call him Noah. After the unnerving incident at the carnival, a couple, David and Julie Peterson, show up at the hospital. Claiming to be Kyle's biological parents, they present a story of a long-lost son and back it up with a photo album filled with snapshots of a supposed childhood. But Kyle isn't convinced about their timing, their story, and even the photos feels too polished, too convenient. Kyle approaches the hidden camera Foss keeps and shakes it, asking him who these people were. He goes into the living room and asks the couple many questions. Despite the growing uncertainty, life carries on. Kyle and Josh attend Amanda's Catholic confirmation. Josh is still clumsily chasing Ashley Redmond while Kyle quietly gives Amanda a thoughtful gift. Later, he corners Charlie and without anger tells him that he knows about Hillary and urges him to be honest with Amanda before she gets hurt. Declan also remains skeptical of the Petersons and works with Kyle to piece the puzzle together. Amanda, sensing Kyle's emotional weight, visits him at home and joins him in his usual comfort zone. His bathtub, she doesn't press, she just sits and talks, trying to be there for him. When the DNA test comes back with a match, the Tragers are shaken, but Kyle stands his ground. He tells them that while biology may tie him to someone else, they are the only family he knows and he doesn't plan to leave. Still needing space, Kyle wanders off to a church where he sits alone in a quiet pew. There, a stranger joins him, a kind-eyed man who says just enough to rattle Kyle's guarded sense of reality. He tells Kyle someone out there cares deeply for him and that answers are coming, but danger isn't far behind. Cyrus Reynolds, acting under deadly orders, is watching and waiting. While Kyle walks alone through a park, Cyrus moves in for the kill, but someone else gets there first. An unseen attacker grabs Kyle from behind and knocks him out with chloroform. When Kyle wakes, he's back in the woods. Rain falling, darkness pressing in. Another flash surfaces, Karna aiming a gun at Foss, but he pulls the trigger first. It's truth. Kyle wasn't ready to see Foss wounded and breathing heavily is beside him, having survived Cyrus's shot. Kyle bombards him with questions about Adam Bellin, the symbol, and his identity. Foss, bleeding but defiant, finally starts to reveal more. Kyle's past isn't just strange, it's part of some past hidden and dangerously unfinished. After his tense encounter with Tom Foss, Kyle returns home and shocks the Tragers by saying he believes the Petersons really are his parents. To back it up, he shares a detailed memory of a childhood trip to Hawaii when he was 9. It sounds convincing. Kyle tells him he'll be leaving with them tomorrow. The following day, Declan hosts a farewell party at his pool, though the mood is anything but festive. Declan presses Kyle, clearly doubting the story. Hillary lashes out at Charlie, still bitter over his betrayal. Amanda, holding back tears, tells Kyle it is goodbye. Just see you, and gives him a final lingering hug. Josh and Stephen stay mostly silent, their emotions barely contained. Nicole, trying to stay composed, says she's glad Kyle found his family and his memories, but her eyes betray the loss she feels. Just before leaving, Kyle shares personal moments. With each member of the Trager family, he hugs Nicole tightly, his voice quiet. He tells Declan he left something for him upstairs. Once the car pulls away, Nicole sees the photo they took together at Lori's birthday party and finally breaks down in tears. Meanwhile, Declan finds the box. Kyle mentions inside an old magazine with a Hawaii travel ad, a postcard from Maui and a toy sailboat. The truth clicks. Kyle never remembered the trip. He faked it. The Petersons aren't his family. He left the clues for Declan to uncover. In the Petersons' car, Kyle turns to them and says plainly, "You're good liars." They nod. "It's our job," one replies. Their mission was never about truth. It was about removal and containment. Elsewhere, Foss, still injured, makes a secure call. He updates his contact, the urgency in his voice clear. In Kyle's memory, Foss's words echo. Kyle has no memories. Before the forest, because he didn't exist before that night. The car pulls up to a secured private compound inside. Kyle is brought to a waiting man, the calm stranger from the church, Adam Belland, the man who may hold the key to everything. Meanwhile, in a different corner of the shadowy operation, Cyrus speaks with a woman named Rebecca Thatcher. She refers to Kyle's subject 781227, not as a failed experiment but as a breakthrough. He survived in the outside world. She assures Cyrus that she'll take care of 781227, and Adam. Then she adds chillingly that 781228 is in excellent condition. The season ends inside a lab, suspended in a glowing chamber of pink fluid. A second subject floats, female, perfectly still. The label reads XX and 7812.